Welcome to this explainer. Okay, tell me if this sounds familiar. You've got recurring plumbing woes, and honestly, it's just incredibly frustrating. You're dealing with these seemingly random backups, incredibly slow drains, or maybe foul odors that literally just won't go away no matter what you try. Well, today we're going on a bit of an underground adventure to solve these exact problems. We're sending in the ultimate detective, a remotely operated robotic camera. We're going to decode exactly what a sewer camera inspection shows and how this awesome piece of tech transforms a total plumbing nightmare into a highly solvable puzzle.
So, here's our investigation roadmap for today. First, we'll explore the underground mystery itself. Then, we'll get into finding blockages and buildup. After that, we'll take a close look at structural damage and outside invaders. And finally, we'll wrap the whole thing up by decoding your actual inspection report. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Part 1. The underground mystery. Moving from guessing straight to knowing.
Anyone who's gone through a tense property transfer, a major home renovation, or just dealt with those awful, stubborn backups knows the deep anxiety of the unknown. I mean, you're standing out there in your yard or down in your basement, pouring money and temporary fixes literally down the drain, and you have to ask yourself, what is actually causing that recurring clog? You can plunge and pour chemical treatments all day long, but those surface-level symptoms, they're really just the tip of the iceberg. We absolutely have to go below ground to see the unseen reality.
For the longest time, diagnosing a sewer issue was, well, kind of just a guessing game. And speculating based on recurring symptoms, that is incredibly risky for your wallet. You just have to hope for the best, or worse, a plumber would basically have to start blindly digging up your beautiful lawn. But now, a sewer camera gives you hard, documented evidence. We're talking high-definition video footage, exact measurements, and really precise location data. It's the profound difference between super expensive guesswork and actually knowing, for sure, what's happening down there.
Section 2. Finding blockages and buildup. It's time for our journey into the pipe itself to meet the nasty villains lurking below.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is what happens when that robotic camera actually goes down into the dark. It meets our rogues gallery of clogs, the primary culprits caught red-handed. We're talking about heavy grease that literally solidifies over time, tightly packed silt, hard mineral scale that builds up kind of like plaque in an artery, invasive tree roots, leftover construction debris, you name it. And these aren't just minor inconveniences, right? They latch onto your pipe walls and slowly, steadily choke the flow capacity of your entire plumbing system.
But here's the thing. Visually identifying the blockage is really only half the battle. We also need to know, is this issue localized to just one tiny little spot, or is it a massive, widespread disaster running the entire length of your property? Well, as the camera travels down the line, it actually records distance markers right on the video feed. This is a total game changer. By pinpointing the exact location of the buildup, the technician knows precisely where the problem lies. And for you, that means no more needlessly digging up your entire yard or destroying your driveway just to fix a problem that might literally only be a few inches wide.
Section 3. Structural damage and invaders. Let's look at what happens when there are actual breaches in the wall.
As we investigate what happens when the actual physical walls of the pipe fail, we really need to define a crucial plumbing term first, and that is infiltration. Simply put, infiltration is water entering the sewer line from the surrounding soil. Now you might be wondering, why is that so bad? Well, it can drastically increase water treatment costs, completely overload the sewer system during heavy wet weather, and honestly, worst of all, it rapidly accelerates the physical deterioration of the pipe itself.
So let's walk through the actual structural damage a camera reveals. Take joint defects, for instance. The camera spots physical gaps that let in soil or water, which eventually lead to material collecting right inside the pipe. Or corrosion. That appears as this dangerous thinning and rough interior surfaces, causing massive flow restrictions over time. And in really severe cases, the camera catches fully collapsed sections displaying a crushed, distorted shape that points to total structural failure. What's fascinating here is that technicians watch this footage incredibly closely to determine whether these defects appear to be actively flowing with water or if they're currently stable. That huge distinction completely impacts how they tackle the repair strategy.
And this brilliantly illustrates one of the most recognizable and damaging issues captured on camera: nature's invasion. Listen, tree roots are absolutely relentless. They constantly seek out moisture, and they will aggressively invade your pipes through those tiny, microscopic joints or hairline cracks we just discussed. Once they get inside, Oh, they flourish. They completely compress the pipe, severely block the flow, and they actually act like a net, catching and accumulating all that grease and sediment until the pipe is completely, hopelessly blocked.
The camera also acts as this brilliant tracker of abnormal flow. It's looking for clues, things like unusual moisture patterns along the upper walls, standing water in places that should definitely be freely draining, or completely irregular discharge behavior. Because sewer systems are highly sensitive to their surrounding environment, expert technicians will often strategically coordinate the exact timing of your inspection with recent rainfall or even local tide cycles. This ensures they capture representative flow patterns right when the problems actually occur, rather than when the pipe just happens to be empty and quiet.
Section 4. Decoding your inspection report. Let's move to and see how this builds into actionable evidence.
Okay, we've emerged back at the surface, and now it's time to turn that actionable video evidence into a clear plan. Look, a multi-page professional plumbing report can look highly overwhelming at first glance, but you are empowered to translate it by following 3 exact steps. Step 1. Identify exactly where the issue occurs using those precise distance markers we talked about earlier. Step 2. Identify the specific type of problem. Are we looking at roots, grease buildup, or physical cracks? And step 3. Determine if it's an isolated incident in just a single pipe joint or a broader, systemic pattern failing across the entire line. Breaking it down this way, it puts you right in the driver's seat.
Now, it is absolutely critical to understand the distinction between diagnosis and repair. The camera inspection is purely a diagnostic tool. It definitively answers what is down there and exactly where it is. But the camera itself is not the repair. Once you have that exact data, then you move to the remediation plan. Depending on your local building codes, your specific pipe material, and access constraints, your plumber will use the diagnostic data to decide between a simple cleaning, an advanced trenchless lining, or maybe a full-scale replacement. The camera is simply the ultimate diagnostic key required to choose that correct long-term plumbing solution.
So the crucial point is perfectly summarized by this quote, derived directly from our source material. A sewer camera inspection can replace speculation with documented evidence, helping you make faster, more informed decisions. That is the absolute power of this modern technology. It completely removes the stressful, ridiculously expensive guesswork, and it empowers you, as an informed homeowner or property manager, to fix the actual problem the right way the very first time.
Which leaves us with one final, very important question to ponder. What unseen mysteries are currently hiding in your own home's underground infrastructure? The next time you have a slow drain, a foul odor, or a recurring clog, remember the power of the underground detective. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep asking great questions about the hidden systems that keep our modern world flowing smoothly.